Welcome. Welcome. We're live on a recap of one of the craziest days of football that I can remember.
I couldn't believe it.
Can you remember really a crazier day of football than this?
No, maybe playoffs, but that's
The
a whole different
playoffs,
beast.
yes, but
That's a whole
regular
different beast,
season?
though. Nah,
I
not at all.
mean,
This was nuts.
think about it, right?
Especially if you add in the Thursday game, which we already covered, kind of.
Yeah, that's true. We did cover it, but it's crazy, really. I mean, what we had Trevor Simeon, Cooper Rush, and Mike White win games. From Brian, another week, another win.
I see it.
I don't know if you're talking about your fantasy team or your real life team, but whichever one it is, congratulations.
I just assume it's a fantasy team.
Assume it's a fantasy team, but it could be the real life team. Could be.
Geno Smith led the day in passer rating.
Oh my god, I can't do it. I can't do it.
It was a day.
I know. It. It really was, right? I mean, it's just it's crazy. So, what do you want to start with? Do you want to start with injuries? Do you want to start with going through some of the games? Do you have anything to say about the Eagles? Do you want to tell the people where they can find your work? What do you want to start with?
We could wait on all that. I mean, we could start with injuries. Was there any big injuries? I don't think I.
Jameis. I mean, Jameis is out.
Yeah.
Jameis is going to be out for the season, so that's going to be, that's going to be an issue. So he's going to be out for the season. So why don't we start with that? Because it's confirmed. He loves to see Amari Cooper playing like this. Yes, I tweeted that actually. I tweeted that just before we went live. I was like, the bye week did him a lot of good. Clearly, he wasn't healthy. And now he's healthy. So good to see him healthy and playing well. You love to see that.
Oh yeah.
Amari Cooper is a good player. No one ever said Amari Cooper was bad. He just there was a health issue. There was some sort of health issue, and now he's healthy. So it's good. Oh, Toronto Dave.
Dave, glad to see Dave back on the Twitter. He was
taking
a break.
I agree. Dave is a good friend of mine. I love Dave.
Awesome.
He's been very supportive of me throughout my journey in this community. It's always something I try to do, to be honest, right? What I don't want is people to say, "Oh, that guy Tyler, when he had 1,000 followers, he was so nice to me. He would always talk to me. Now he has more followers. So now, he just doesn't have time for little guys." It's like I don't want that to ever be said about me, ever. I don't I'm not like that. I didn't become a different person. I'm really not that different. I mean, yeah, you grow and whatever, but I'm really pretty much the same person I was. I've grown a little. I've had some personal life stuff in my time in the fantasy industry the last 2 years, but I'm not remarkably different than I was at the start of 2021 when I had about 2,000 followers. Mostly I've been the same. I'm the same guy. So, I just want people to see that. I try not to let the follower number get to my head. But yeah. Did not know Winston was out for the season. All right, well, let's start with that because we got to start with that. Oh, and much love.
You couldn't tell with his dancing. I don't know if you saw that clip in the post.
Well, I did see that, but Sean Payton says, he says that Winston looks like it's an ACL and an MCL damage potentially, so he's going to be out for the year. So he's out. Oh, I'm getting compliments. Much of your presence is to help people. Yes, I do actually. Sometimes I actually get some. I get people actually telling me this. So people tell me something like, "Oh, Tyler, you'd do much better if you spent more time talking to bigger accounts. You should make more effort trying to make friends with people who are bigger." And I'm like, I'm sorry. I just make friends with who I want to make friends with, and I help people who are nice to me. I don't really care how many followers they have. And I will be starting. I will be starting a Dynasty podcast on this channel during the offseason. I've talked about it a bunch of times. And, I'm just going to pick the best host. I don't care if you have 300 followers, if you have 300,000 followers. I don't care. I just want to pick the person
applications in people. I don't know where probably just DMs your applications. That's where the people should.
No, I'm going to post a thread. We're still. I'm not launching that till the offseason, so I have time.
It's week 8, going fast.
Yeah, I have time. So my plan is kind of, and all right. I want to get to Jameis Winston, but let's talk about Calvin Ridley first, since it's coming up. Calvin Ridley, and I talked about this earlier today. Calvin Ridley, he says he's suffering from mental health. More than likely, he's suffering from burnout. he's suffering from some form of burnout, mental health. He has a form of burnout. I don't know exactly. Obviously, I don't know him. I've never talked to the man. I don't know exactly what he's experiencing, but more than likely he's suffering from some form of burnout. And I can relate to that. I suffer from that all the time. There are some times on Sunday where I just am like, I can't do this anymore. I'm tired. I feel like there's just been so many questions, et cetera, et cetera. Dave's saying something about his grandmother passed away. It's possible also that's an issue. But, typically, when you're suffering from a mental health issue, it often, no matter what you're suffering from, you feel burnt out. Like a grief can cause a burnout. It can cause you to feel tired. It can cause you to feel, it could be a relationship breaking up. Anything could cause you to just feel tired. And imagine doing that and trying to play a professional sport, right? I mean, it's easy. For me, it's like sometimes I struggle to just go on Twitter and answer a couple of fantasy questions. Imagine if I had to go in front of everybody. There's like 30 people who watch this show or whatever. Imagine if I had to go in front of millions of people watching me play football, how that would, make you feel. So I get it, with Ridley. So it's been tough. I mean, I don't really know what to say. I have said a couple. Yeah, I wish him the best. I have said a couple of times though that at the end it sucks, right? This is the worst part of fantasy football. Yeah, Dave says life is constant burnout, and I guess it means I don't do anything. I'm not sure what it means. I don't anything, but something along those lines. Yeah, I mean, burnout can be felt from the simplest things.
It's rough.
A lot of people get social burnout. If you're introverted or something and you have to do a lot of socializing, you can get social burnout, that kind of thing. If you're an extrovert, you can get burnout from being alone. It goes the other way. So, there's a lot of things you can do. Pressure and stress.
Not at all.
It's not. But so here's the thing I hate about this. Here's what I hate about this, right? What I hate about this is that at the end of the day, and you would, I think, agree with me on this, is that, so I was right. He was saying that he isn't doing it. And Dave, that's very much also not true. Right? I see you interacting with us on Twitter. You
exactly
are a positive presence in the community that we appreciate.
Every thread.
So that's not entirely true. You at least do something for us, and we appreciate that. But with that said, I do want to start. I guess we should start with Ridley. So at the end of the day, the game of fantasy football is going to continue, no matter what's going on with Calvin Ridley, and we have to deal with that. We have to deal with that, right? You can't just pretend that he doesn't exist. You can't pretend that, it's not, he's fine, because he's not. He's not going to be in your fantasy lineup. So you have to prepare for that. So let's start by talking about the easier situation, which is redraft. Because then there's 8 more weeks of this, and then you can deal with next redraft season. In redraft, let's say you had Calvin Ridley on your team. What would you do? What would you do?
So here's the tough thing. I don't think they're going to designate him for any kind of IR. So you'll miss that roster spot in waivers. So I don't think they'll designate him out early in the week.
No, they're not going to do that. They're going to just wait, I would think.
Exactly. So you're missing that roster spot, but you have to hold. You can't cut him.
They could put him on NFI.
True.
I don't know how they're going to handle this, to be honest with you.
I don't know either. It's really tough to navigate because we don't know anything, but
I think the team will support him. Unfortunately,
sure.
And unfortunately, you know how this works, right? And this is the worst part of it all. The better player you are, the more likely the team is to support you. He's good enough that he's in their long-term plans, so they want to try to find a way to make this work. So my guess is they're going to support him. Whereas, if this were Olamide Zaccheaus, they'd probably just gut him. So, it's cold world, but, the reality of the situation, and we know this with other Deshaun Watson players, is no matter what the issue is, the better you are, better player you are, the more likely you are to get a lot of rope.
200%.
In redraft, how do you even handle this? I mean, what do you even do?
I think you got to hold. Like he could come back. It's I don't know. He said indefinitely. That's what I've been saying.
Indefinitely could be any amount of time.
The season, yeah, it's tough because I don't know.
This is a brutal situation because really, there's no advice we can give you.
Exactly.
We can try. I mean, well, okay. Here's the one piece of advice I'll give you. This is the easiest thing. If I don't already have Calvin Ridley, I'm not voluntarily putting myself into this situation. So in redraft, just forget it. I don't even want, unless I'm going to get Calvin Ridley for a player I would like release. Like if someone offered me Calvin Ridley for KJ Osborne, sure, I'll take Calvin Ridley at that point. But, I wouldn't even, I mean, where would you even rank him among, I don't even know how you rank him, but in redraft, let me give you a couple of names. So T. Higgins, would you take T. Higgins? So Let me go a little bit lower. How about like Marvin Jones, someone who you can play? You can play him, but he's nothing special.
It's so difficult. You have to say Marvin Jones because
I still think it's Marvin Jones. I think it's lower than that. Like I think it's lower than that. Like I think you're looking at. I mean, how low do you have to go? Like Cole Beasley or Jacoby Myers, the kind of point where you're getting to players where you might have a waiver wire option. I think it has to be something like that. Yeah. I think anyone who's like clearly not a waiver wire option, I'd rather have. But it's gonna be somewhere. I mean, he's gonna rank probably. I don't do rest of season rankings, so I'm probably gonna rank. I would probably rank him if I did somewhere in the mid 30s. The mid 30s to
that's about the range.
35 and 40.
Rest of the range I've been seeing him.
Yeah, because at that point, you don't have much to lose, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, if I lose Tyler Boyd for the rest of the season, if I lose Jacoby Myers for the rest of the season, is it Jarvis Landry or these things? This is not going to kill me.
No.
You see what I'm saying? So, but yeah, the guys who actually have value, like your Jerry Jeudy, Waddle, Cooks, Marvin Jones, Claypool. These I want all these guys over Ridley at this point. So, but in redraft, I just expect that what's going to happen is he's not going to be traded. You're just going to, if you need points this week and you want to trade him away, then sure, do it. But in redraft, it's not a big deal at this point. There's 8 more games. It is what it is. If you drafted him in like the second round, you've been screwed. I'm sorry. And it is what it is, right? I mean, there's not much you can do. But unfortunately, that doesn't apply to Dynasty because a very, very high-priced asset may have just So I was kind of in the right range. And Dynasty, though, that doesn't apply. That doesn't apply because you can't just not. You have to make a call here. You have to make a call. You have to do something. So it's tough. What do you do?
Well, are you saying on a roster that he's already on of yours? Or?
Well, let's talk about that. So would you buy him under any circumstances?
It depends. I think we need to see trades first during the week to kind of gauge.
Well, I've already actually seen one, and it was not pretty.
Hit me with it.
It was Dallas Goedert and CJ Uzomah for Calvin Ridley.
Was there a premium at all?
There is a premium, but you don't have to start a tight end, so it's not really a premium. It's ugly. It's ugly. It's bad. Not good.
Well, yeah, he might never come back to football.
So that's the problem. So the thing is that it's hard because you have to make these trades don't blow my mind. What part of these trades blow your mind? Give me Waddle.
Maybe. Well, that's probably why.
Straight up.
It's probably because they're given a decent rookie for someone who might never.
No, I think he's saying that he would prefer the Ridley side, given how this is worded, and I disagree. I hate this. I hate this. I hold Ridley if you can't get anything, but this is not getting nothing. This is getting something. And so if those are the things you can get, I want to get out now. I hate this because I feel bad. Unlike Deshaun Watson, who I do not feel bad for, or Antonio Brown, again, similar thing, not to the level of Watson, but a similar thing where, he put himself in that situation through his own selfish actions that caused him to lose his dynasty value. I feel bad for Calvin Ridley.
200%.
But with that said, from a dynasty perspective, it's the same thing. It's very risky. And there is a chance that Calvin Ridley is never Calvin Ridley again. And I think that's what people are underestimating, unfortunately. And actually, Dave says it right here. I guess I'm underestimating the risk and uncertainty. So there is these mental health issues. As someone who's had plenty of them, and I don't know, how much you want to talk about your personal life or anything like that, but you can if you want. But for me, just personally, these type of issues don't go away. They don't go away. They are an issue for a long time. I can't just tell you that he's going to get over it in a week, because he's not. It's probably going to be something that hangs around for a while. And unfortunately, as much as I hate to say this, in Dynasty, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want, and that's cold, right? I mean, that's a very, very cold way of thinking about it. And it's hard. You have to separate. And some people struggle with this. And I struggle with this with Deshaun Watson, for example, not wanting him on my team. It's hard. I don't want him on my team. But sometimes I have to separate that when I'm giving advice to people who have him, not to sell him dirt cheap. Separate the human aspect. So in this case, it's the opposite. I want to support Ridley, and I want to believe in him. He's one of my favorite players. I believed that he was going to make a leap this year to top 5 after Julio was traded. He was going to be a top 5 receiver. He was one of my biggest breakout candidates to really take the ascension into being one of the best receivers in the league. So I fully believed that. And I think that if this had not happened, that would have been the case, that would have happened. I think this is why it's not happening. I wrote an article not knowing this. I wrote an article during the week for DLF where I recommended Calvin Ridley as a buy because all the peripherals were still there. It just wasn't coming together. But now I think I understand why it's not coming together. So the reality of the situation is that I have to recommend I would get rid of Calvin Ridley now, because every week he doesn't come back, there will be a loss in his value. And I will tell you that I have Calvin Ridley in Dynasty at Dynasty wide receiver 23 at the moment. And honestly, I think that's too high. I think he's going to end up lower after the week. So he was already lower than guys like Jamar Chase, Jefferson, Lamb, Metcalf, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, Tyreek Hill, McLaurin. He was lower than those. Adams. He was lower than those guys already. So let's move on. I mean, Cooper Kupp at this point, Diggs, Godwin. After he was ruled inactive, those are not guys he was in the group with. Now he's way lower. So I don't think we have to talk about those guys.
No.
I think the first guy that I come to that I want to discuss, I know we're taking a lot of time on this, but really this is like the most dynasty-wise. This is it. This is the most important thing of the week. It's more important than anything that happened. It's the most important actionable takeaway of anything that happened today, because a high-priced asset may have just gone up in flames. So this is a big deal. The first guy I come to where I think it's interesting is, would you take in Dynasty Ridley or DeAndre Hopkins? I think that's the first one where I have a decision.
I kind of agree with you, but I think you got to take D-Hop.
Even with his issues, he's had issues all season with injuries. He hasn't quite looked the same.
He hasn't quite looked the same, but like we said, Calvin Ridley may never touch the football field again.
Unfortunately.
DeAndre Hopkins, there's at least I know he's been banged up a little, but there's a good chance he takes the field next week.
Oh, yeah, he will. DeAndre Hopkins doesn't miss games.
Yeah, exactly.
DeAndre Hopkins doesn't miss games. DeAndre Hopkins was ruled out of this game and then just decided that he would come in the game on his own. Like he just walked in, caught a pass, and then went back out. He just decided he was going to come in and run a route.
Guy.
So this man is very tough. DeAndre Hopkins is also someone that I believe is elite. Like Julio Jones lasted until 31, and now the wheels are coming off at 32. I do think that you have this year and next year at least from Nuke. And remember that, yeah. But also remember that Calvin Ridley is 26, turning 27 in December. He's only a little bit more than 2 years younger than Nuke. So, the next on my list is Deebo Samuel, but at this point, I'd rather have Deebo Samuel than DeAndre Hopkins, given another boom. Deebo Samuel.
You see that screen he housed?
Deebo Samuel's a monster. So I don't think we need to discuss Deebo Samuel versus Calvin Ridley. I don't think that's a discussion. Deebo Samuel's younger. He's produced more this season. He looks excellent.
I didn't see that coming at all.
So that's not a discussion. And then next on my list is Devonta Smith. The trio, I would say, of Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, and Jerry Jeudy. Those three. Would you prefer all of them over Calvin Ridley at this point?
So, I don't know. Jerry Jeudy's an easy yes.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back after seeing this week and to ranking Jerry Jeudy first out of that group.
I agree. He looked pretty good today. I didn't watch much of the game because, it was a very low-scoring game.
He looked fine. He wasn't
on red zone much.
Coming off a high ankle sprain, he had the most receptions on the team. Nobody had a good day there.
No.
Nobody did anything.
He looked good coming off the ankle sprain.
Yeah, he actually looked pretty good. Considering that nobody had any volume and Bridgewater looked putrid, he actually had a pretty good game. He looked healthy. At least.
I think for that grouping, I'd probably go Jeudy, Waddle, Smith in that order.
And I think I will too, and I'm going to reverse it. But what about them versus Ridley? I like them all. They're all over 40. They're all 4 years younger than Ridley or more.
I'm kind of on board with that.
Yeah, so I think I like those three players. And then we come to an older player who I'm kind of thinking might belong at the top of that group, not the bottom, in Deontay Johnson. And I actually think when you look at Deontay Johnson versus Calvin Ridley, there's no decision. Deontay Johnson is producing. He's a year and a half younger. He doesn't have really any concerns. So I think it's easy because there's no argument to make for it, contender or anything. There's just no argument for Ridley over Deontay Johnson anymore.
No. He gets 10 targets a game, bare minimum most of the time? Consistently. When Deontay Johnson is in the lineup, he produces. He produces without fail. So, okay, Dave is saying something. So let's put some of them up. Yeah, honestly, we don't talk about, not us specifically, but there's not enough discussion about mental health. It's better than it was. Sure. But it's still, I guarantee you, if I went on Twitter and talked about mental health, I would get at least 10 comments being like, you're a baby, you're soft, fuck you. All I care about is my fantasy lineup. I don't give a shit about you or your feelings or anything like that. So, while we might have come a long way, there's still a long way to go. And yeah, it's hard to separate real life from fantasy implications. When I say it's hard, it's easy for me to do it when I'm playing in leagues or when I'm giving advice freely. It's hardest for me on the show because I want to present it in a very, very, a respectful way. That's, I think, what it is. And we know, and this as well as I do, this as someone who knows me very well, that I'm a little bit of a, firebrand or kind of a crazy talker I can be a little bit mean. So I really want to keep that side of me buried when I discuss this kind of thing and really take it seriously. And I know that that's not as much fun, but it's not all about fun. Dynasty is right here, and Calvin Ridley's mental health. We're the top concern.
I know. No, it's tough. It's tough because yes, we are more concerned about Calvin Ridley's life than this game. But at the same time, you have to still
the game goes on.
Yeah, you do. And also, I want to also respect the fact that yes, this is just a game, but this game has brought a lot of people together. This game, and I know this for a fact, brings positive mental health impacts for a lot of people. I know some people, I'm not going to say anything about who these people are or anything, but I know some people who have had issues with addiction or depression or anxiety who've been helped by fantasy football. So it wouldn't be fair to those people if I just didn't talk about it, because those people deserve, for their hobby that they enjoy and that makes them happy to continue. So, and I want to be there. And that's part of the reason, I bring happiness to people's life. I know this. I know this from my Patreon. I've had a bunch, I can tell you a bunch of different stories, and I won't waste the people's time with that. But I make a real life impact on people just beyond the fantasy advice. So I have to talk about it. I owe it to those people, and I want to be there for them. So it's a tough, you can see it's a tough balancing situation to be in. So I can't tell you how much FF Twitter has improved my life. I definitely think on the balance, it's improved my life. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I really try. Dave. I try to bring joy to everyone. It's tough. Yeah. So he seems to have it in the same order you do with, and I will now, with Judy first, Waddle second, Devonta third. But I have those players very close, and I still will. Deontay for sure.
I think I have Deontay over that group as well, just from what I've seen.
Have to. And break from Twitter can sometimes be good. I might need to take one of those myself at some point. I'm really trying to make it through the season, but I'm starting to tire. So we'll see if I can make it through the season. But I plan on it. Should.
Oh, I see the comment about my chair. It's comfortable most times, Dave. Most times.
Yeah, you have a really nice chair.
It's all right. It creaks a lot, and it always gets in the recordings.
Yeah, I also with this, I feel like it's important to be able to use your platform for whatever you want to discuss. I do say that I mostly try to keep my account to football, not because I feel like I have to. Believe me, I don't. I can talk about whatever I want. I don't care what people think of me really in that way. But, I do use Twitter as an escape from life, and this is an escape from things. So, I usually take that stuff to a different forum, like my friends or, people that are not social media, because social media can be so toxic. But, the few times I've wanted to share something personal, I never have any problem. I actually thanked the people yesterday, which had nothing to do with football at all. I just literally wanted to thank them. Oh, Ed. Speaking of Ed, Ed is one of the people I want to thank. So I appreciate you, Ed.
That's the man.
You're very, you're always just there for me. And I love that. I never forget that kind of stuff. But yeah, so we agreed on Deontay Johnson versus Ridley.
Yep.
So let's move forward. I mean, how low do we have to go? I mean, I have some other guys I have a little bit lower. What about in Dynasty, Chase Claypool?
Ooh, that's where it becomes kind of closer decision.
I do think that's the first one where I have to think about it.
Because I don't know if you saw the tweets about Chase Claypool and his touchdowns year one, like how people are. I mean, I think you have to take Claypool because the profile's there.
I'm gonna take Claypool.
You gotta take that profile. It's
Mike Williams, similar age to Ridley.
You gotta take Mike Williams. He's
probably gonna still take Mike Williams, even though this week again was not good. I'm still gonna go with Mike Williams. Michael Pittman at this point, I don't think is close.
Oh my gosh,
he's misranked in my rankings. That ranking is gonna change. It's gonna be Michael Pittman easily over Calvin Ridley, easily at this point.
He was bailing out Wentz today when Wentz didn't want to get bailed out. We'll talk.
So far, we haven't gone with Calvin Ridley even one time. No, Michael Pittman is a monster. Michael Pittman he should be in the conversation with Smith, Waddle, and Judy. He should be in that conversation.
Bump him up.
He should be in that conversation. I don't know where. My guess is I'm actually going to have him above. I'm probably going to have Judy, Pittman, Smith, Waddle in that order. Pittman was that good. He looks that good that I think he deserves to be in that conversation.
Yeah, I still have Judy in front of him too, but
I would have Judy in front, but Smith and Waddle behind.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Pittman, I think, should be there, though. He should be in that group.
I'd have the order the same, just flipping the last two.
Yeah, but it would make ahead of Ridley again. So then T. Higgins, we're starting to get to
It's starting to get close, but you
I kind of feel like T. Higgins and Claypool are similar.
Yeah,
I believe more in some ways that T. Higgins is going to turn it around, at least in the short term.
Yeah, targets are there.
I think he had a decent day today. And if he had caught that one long pass and almost caught, we would be having a different conversation about T. Higgins.
Yep.
I still think I'm going to go with T. Higgins. I think he's over 4 years younger than Calvin Ridley. I'm going to go with T. Higgins. What about Amari Cooper? Amari Cooper is only 6 months older than Calvin Ridley, and I can tell you, he looked like the old Amari Cooper today.
Exactly.
He did.
You gotta. I didn't watch much.
I'm going to take Amari Cooper. He looked good. He looked good today. He looks so good.
Gotta roll with it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like Amari Cooper is just kind of an older and far better version of T. Higgins. Second receiver to a super stud with a good quarterback.
Amari's highs are higher than T. Higgins.
Oh, Amari's a better player than T. Higgins.
Yeah.
He's just older. So you kind of balance those two factors.
Yeah. His best weeks are better than T. Higgins' best weeks.
So in Dynasty, you balance those factors, and they're not the same. But I'd rather have both over Calvin Ridley. Yeah. So we haven't picked Calvin Ridley even one time. Next, I think this is it. I think this is it because next I come to some of these players: Rondale Moore, Cortland Sutton, and Hollywood Brown, Mike Evans. I think we were there. I think we're there.
That's definitely the grouping. I feel like you could pick and choose out of that group.
Yeah, I think Ridley's in that group. I mean, would you take any of those players over Ridley? I think Sutton after today is a clear no.
I think Hollywood Brown is the one.
Hollywood Brown to me is the tempting one.
You can make an argument for him.
Rondale Moore, I love Rondale Moore.
It's going to be exciting for so long.
They're going to
manufacture more touches next year.
I want to take Rondale Moore over Calvin Ridley. I do. Cortland Sutton is a definite no. I think I'd probably take Rondale Moore, but none of the others. Mike Evans is close to Calvin Ridley. There's an argument with Mike Evans. I mean, with Antonio Brown, Mike Evans looked good today again.
Yep.
I don't know. There's an argument between those two, but this is where he is. I mean, he's somewhere in with these guys. And then after that, you get to like Michael Thomas. That's getting out of one situation and getting into another. So I don't want to do that. Rashad Bateman, Kadarius Toney. I mean, these are just and Allen Robinson. I mean, Allen Robinson has struggled, and Rashad Bateman and Kadarius Toney have had a couple good games. I just don't think that's good enough. So I think we found it, but it's tough. It's tough. And yeah, he wants Mapletron. Love you guys. Thank you. I was looking at moving Higgins for Ridley today. I mean, I think there's a good possibility. No, I don't want to move Higgins for Ridley.
But he was looking for something else.
So yeah, maybe look for something else. But honestly,
on top of that,
my general advice is just don't trade into Ridley. Don't trade into him. All this stuff is what I'm talking about how to trade out of him. I'm not trading into him, period. Essentially. Yeah, I mean, that's I will say the fact that I can just make a decision and just give an answer is the reason why I'm in this chair.
Well, the last group had me thinking a little bit. Everything else was.
I just give an answer. I mean, sometimes I give an answer and then I go back and I'm like, I don't like that answer. But 90 to 95% of the time, I was like, I like my first instinct. And yeah, Ed didn't have anything to make the deal good. Well, that happens sometimes. Yeah. So okay. So I think we talked enough about Calvin Ridley. I think I gave the people good advice. In summary, if you already have him, my people don't seem to like Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle as much as I do. So getting Devonta Smith or Jalen Waddle for plus would probably be my first choice because that's realistic. Seems like you can get that. Like you can get Waddle in a second or Smith in a second. I would like that. And I would just get out and just be done. And yeah. Good advice not to trade for Ridley. I'm not trading for Ridley under any circumstances. Like, I'm not giving Bateman or Toney for Ridley. Like, I'd have to probably go down to, like, Allen Robinson to want to trade for Ridley.
I'd easy give.
Yeah. I'm not even giving Bateman or Toney. I'm not trading into Ridley voluntarily unless it's, like, a 25% cost. So, I'm just not.
I don't think you're getting that.
I don't think I am. So, I'm just not trading into Ridley at all. How cheap should Allen Robinson be at this point? Okay, this is a good question. Should we buy Let's just jump into that. Let's jump into Allen Robinson's.
Why not?
Allen Robinson's alleged performance today. So he was there. I heard 3 receptions for 21 yards on 4 targets.
That 4th target was over his head by a mile.
Yeah, so it was over his head. So, yes or no? Will Allen Robinson be a Chicago Bear at 4:01 p.m. on Tuesday? Yes or no?
Yes.
So you do. So you think he will be there. So you don't think he'll be traded. In case people don't know, the trade deadline is 4 p.m. on Tuesday. So that's why
he's departing in the offseason. That's my guess. He's still departing, but you want 8 more games out of him.
I do think there's a good possibility he could be traded. I do. But we'll see. I won't speculate on that because that could take forever. The talent is diminished. Allen Robinson? Allen Robinson is just fine. There's nothing wrong with Allen Robinson. I said this on my show earlier. There's nothing wrong with Allen Robinson. Nothing at all. These are all ancillary issues. Allen Robinson is still Allen Robinson.
It's more the timing with Fields. They just can't seem to get it down.
Yeah. But he's fine. There's actually nothing wrong with him. But the problem is, he's already 28. He's going to have to adjust to a new team. I'm not buying. I'm not buying, honestly.
I saw this tweet on the timeline. I forget who tweeted where I want him to go. I agree. Put him in Kansas City. Kansas City's struggling.
I've said that.
Okay. That's where I heard it.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that on Twitter. But
you didn't say that? So then it was someone else then.
I didn't tweet. I've said that on this channel. Out loud. But I didn't tweet that.
See, my memory.
Maybe I should have.
My memory's toast. But
maybe I should have. Maybe I should have tweeted that.
Maybe.
But
that'd be pretty nice.
Are you buying Allen Robinson? Because I'm not.
No.
I'm more in the latter, being grateful I don't have him.
Yeah, I don't have him. Well, I do.
Oh, I made good points. Thank you. I try. I really do. It's none of this is rehearsed, so I got to come up with all of it. Yeah, you still have to go after unless someone really want to move him. Most people don't. They're just holding and waiting at this point
for a trade.
So 3 receptions for 21 yards. Not good. No. Darnell Mooney was better, 6 for 64.
Yeah.
I guess. Jesse James got a touchdown.
That was interesting. He was looking Jesse James' way enough.
Justin Fields looked better. He looked better. It couldn't have been worse. It only could have been better. What I really like, though, is he was running the ball, 10 for 103 and a touchdown on the ground. That's what we need. That's what we need him to do. We need him to do that.
Yep.
So let's see more of that. Yeah. So Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston. Let's talk about Jameis Winston because that was the other major. I think that's the only major injury that happened today that I know of. Right?
As far as
let's count Ridley as an injury, but
yeah.
Winston's injury was significant. Gronk got hurt. Robinson had an ankle injury, and I think that is actually going to be serious. But not as serious as this. We know pretty much at this point, it's almost confirmed that Winston will miss the rest of the season. He will.
It's basically confirmed if you read Sean Payton's lips.
Confirmed. Yeah, basically confirmed. So I assume I read on Twitter that Taysom Hill was close to being ready for this game and that he should be ready for next week. So I assume that you would agree with me that Taysom Hill is going to be the starter.
Yeah.
Dave says 2 more weeks. I think it's next week. I think it's going to be next week, personally. I was hearing next week. So let's say, but either way, I would assume that if he's healthy, he's the starter. And this team is 5-2.
Yeah.
So I would think he's the starter. I don't think they're going to sign a Cam Newton or anything. They might sign some veteran backup, but they don't really need a veteran backup. They have Trevor Siemian as their veteran backup, and they had Ian Book on the roster too as a developmental quarterback. They don't really have room for another quarterback. So Taysom's going to be the starter. So that means he's a QB1.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. We're back here again.
Okay. So let's say that you're in redraft, you wouldn't have even had Taysom on your roster. So in redraft, in Superflex redraft, if he's on waivers, you would bid everything, right?
Yeah, you gotta throw
everything. I would bid everything.
Season.
That's easy. Superflex redraft, everything. Bid everything. One QB redraft. If you don't have a quarterback, would you bid? Because I would.
Yeah, you have.
We know he's a QB1.
Top 12 guaranteed every week.
Yeah, top 12 guaranteed. It's like Jalen Hurts, honestly. Very similar. In terms of, not the similar player, let's not hear that. But in terms of fantasy upside, not actually good, but offers fantasy upside. Although Jalen Hurts, weird day today, very good game, terrible fantasy performance, which is odd. But this was an aberration, I think. But Taysom Hill will provide fantasy value, so he's a must-add in redraft. In Dynasty, in one QB, he could have been on like waivers.
Yeah.
And in one QB, if you need a quarterback, you would bid Dynasty waivers. I bid, even in one QB, I bid everything. I bid everything because what are the odds that a better player is going to come around?
0.
Even in one QB, probably not.
We're in what, week 8?
I mean, what's even in one QB, half a season of a QB1 is worth a lot. You're not going to find better than that on waivers.
We already had our Cordell Patterson. We had our Khalil Herbert.
We had that already. That happened.
Elijah Mitchell. We're out of the way with all that stuff at this point.
Well, Elijah Mitchell was not on Dynasty waivers.
Well, redraft waivers. I'm just
but Dynasty. So I guess then the only real decision is Superflex Dynasty, and I think that's very simple. Actually, it's very easy. If you're a contender and you lucked into Taysom, keep him because you can never have too many quarterbacks, and he's a QB1 every week. So keep him. However, if you're a rebuilder and you just happen to have Taysom Hill on your roster, this is a very realistic situation.
Oh,
you had him on your roster. You were hoping he would be named the starter so you can sell him. He wasn't named the starter, so you just hung on to him, hoping for a Jameis injury. So, hope for an injury, but you know what I mean. You were preparing
hope for a benching.
A benching or an injury. You're hoping for him to get a chance to start so you can sell him. Now we're here. He's going to get a chance to start. What would you look for in return? The Dynasty League, Superflex. You're a rebuilder. You're 0-8. You're selling Taysom Hill. What would you look for in return?
I mean, I don't think he'd get a first, but maybe he could squeeze 2 seconds.
I don't think he can get a first.
I'd try for 2 seconds, then go down from there, honestly.
2 seconds? I mean, I'd always try to package him with a second for a first, but that's...
Yeah, obviously. I'm just saying straight up.
I have better luck going after a player. Like, you think maybe you can get Elijah Moore?
Probably.
Yeah.
Even though he's been playing well.
Maybe you can get Brandon Ayuk.
Probably. People are done with him.
Couple of yeah. Well, no, so that's the thing. If you're a rebuilder, he's a must move. He's a must. What are the chances, in your opinion, that Taysom Hill is the Saints' 2022 starting quarterback?
Probably like 1%.
1% is low, but it's less than 10.
Yeah.
I think there's a 90% or more chance that he's not the 2020. If he wasn't the starter this year, he's not going to be the starter next year. So if he wasn't the starter over Winston, he's not going to be the starter in the future. So he's not a future asset. He's a rental. And if you're in a rebuild, you sell rental. So he's a must-move player if you just happen to have him in a rebuild. So get out for whatever you can. I mean, I would accept 1 second. I just feel like I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for a better offer. Not that I don't want a second over him long term, but I would try to go to every manager in the league before I accept that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to get something I like better than 2 seconds, but if that's what I have to take, that's what I have to take.
It's better than him staying on your roster.
And on a rebuild, yeah. On a rebuild, you don't need him. It's actually the opposite of what you want, because if you have anti-tanking rules, you're going to be forced to start him. And he's actually going to cause you to win games, which is very much not what you don't want that. So he's actually like a must-move player on multiple levels. He's also already 31. He's not young. No. Okay, so enough about Taysom Hill, I think, because it's pretty obvious what to do with him. Jameis Winston, okay, obviously you're not going to trade him, but you're, as a content creator ranker, what do you think the chances are that Jameis Winston is a starting quarterback anywhere in 2022 at this point?
I mean, we don't know the full lengths of the structural damage, but it's ACL and MCL, which
let's hypothetically say that he's going to be ready for training camp.
Oh gosh, I'd say yes, but on like the low end tier.
Where?
I don't know. I was trying to run through the quarterback spots in my head because you gotta think Russell Wilson's gonna take a spot somewhere. Rodgers gonna take a spot somewhere. Watson's gonna take a spot somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, he could end up like a Teddy Bridgewater, like a bridge quarterback.
I was thinking more like a Sam Darnold kind of thing, where not a trade for him, but gets a start.
I mean, Tyrod Taylor ended up as a starter this year. Like I would say though the balance is that he's not a starter. Not after this injury. I think he was on course to be the Saints' 2022 starter. I really do think, though, he's either going to start for the Saints or not at all. I don't think another team is going to bring him in as their starter off a devastating injury. He's not going to be able to practice all offseason, and they're just going to sign him as the starter, and he's going to show up in July. It's not like he was great. The Saints' record is 5-2, but I'm not sure that he's responsible for that. He has not been good. So I really do think is he the Saints 2022 starter or is he a backup for the Saints or elsewhere? I don't think he's going to be a starter elsewhere, not with the injury. Right. I think before the injury, that was a possibility. But now if he had continued to play decently. But now I think that's not possible. If I had to guess, I would guess that the Saints, it depends on, are they going to get a rookie? I mean, how are they going to get a quarterback?
I mean, you said they're 5-2 right now, so it's going to be really, really hard for them to get in that upper echelon with Detroit, Houston, Philly.
It's possible that they just move forward with Winston and Hill and Book again because they might not have a choice.
I don't think they do. I mean, they don't have the roster to land one of these incredible.
They don't have the cap room really to trade for Rodgers or Russell Wilson. They could try, but it would be tough.
Or even sign a Garoppolo type.
Yeah, is that really even an upgrade?
No, it's not. But I'm just finding out all the hypotheticals.
Trade for Garoppolo when you could sign Winston again. That doesn't make. You're not going to give up something for Garoppolo when you can just sign Winston. So I don't think that's going to happen. Also, this is going to reduce Winston's asking price. He's going to be a lot cheaper than he was. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's possible. But who would you rather have in Superflex Dynasty at this point, Winston or Taysom Hill?
I mean, Taysom Hill.
Yeah, I guess it has to be, right? I mean,
the ceiling was always higher as well, except
he
threw 30 interceptions.
With Winston, I think at this point he falls into the group with and the guys who have some path to a starting job eventually, maybe like Gardner Minshew, Tyrod Taylor, because he got one at that kind of group. Him and Gardner Minshew seem kind of similar to me. It's like these quarterbacks are not good. They're probably one of the best 32 starters, but they're between 25 and 32. It's like they're good enough to start, but there's no upside with them. Like you don't want to make these guys your franchise quarterback, but they probably are good enough to start. So it's kind of in that weird middle zone.
Yeah.
And in that area, Jimmy Garoppolo might be in there too. Yeah. But the only difference is he's starting right now, so he has more value.
Yeah. I was thinking you're definitely right. After I thought about it a little bit, it's definitely the Saints or nothing.
Yeah, I think so.
You got to think like all those quarterbacks you mentioned. Mariota's, I think, a free agent. Mariota looked good in limited action. Like you never know.
I just don't think any of those guys are going to get a job. Really, I don't think any of them are going to get a job unless they see significant time starting this year. Like if the Eagles bench Jalen Hurts and Gardner Minshew plays 6 games and plays well, then he could be a starter. But I don't think anyone's just going to take Marcus Mariota or Gardner Minshew having not played and make them a starter. That's not going to happen. So, they'd have to have a break go their way. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is what it is with Winston in Superflex leagues. You can't sell, so just hold on to him. There's not actually much to do. It's more it's more me ranking him. That's the interesting exercise. But yeah, Saints won, which is kind of crazy.
It was a crazy game. That's for sure. I mean,
the one thing is I'm done with the Adam Troutman experiment. 2 for 4 on 6 targets. Not good enough.
I was trying to get out all off season after the hype
buzzed up, and
I couldn't. You couldn't get out because no one wanted him. I don't know where the hype came from.
You know it's bad when Deontay Harris leads the team in targets.
Yeah.
Are you looking at the box score?
Yeah.
Oh. I was gonna say Kevin White led the Saints in receiving yards. Yes, that Kevin White.
That was incredible.
That Kevin White.
Wasn't he on Seattle last week?
I don't even know where he was.
I gotta look.
Okay, so what are the other? So there were some injuries. I mean, there was James Robinson, but we don't know with his ankle how much time he's going to miss. But I do think he's going to miss time, so prepare for that. What were some of the things that jumped out at you today, other than Mike White?
I was going to say Mike White. You knew it was coming.
Let's talk about Mike White. So Mike White completed 37 of 45 passes for 405 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. And one of those picks was not his fault.
No.
What are the odds that Mike White is the Jets starter now?
I mean, hold on. Let me scroll up in the comment section. So I'm pretty sure Dave said something about this. I forget where it was.
There's a lot of comments.
It was something about Robert Saleh was non-committal to bringing Zach Wilson. But yeah, this is the one. Didn't dismiss it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely nuts. I mean, obviously that's not going to fly with upper management at all.
It won't.
But it's something to think about. Like, it's fun. It's a good game.
I mean, I think Mike White, he looked better than Zach Wilson ever has.
He did. Without Corey Davis, too?
I know. Mike White is, I mean, look, at this point, you should add him in Superflex leagues if he wasn't added already.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely worth an add. I mean, any quarterback who could throw for 400 yards.
Remember how incompetent this same Jets management traded a pick for Joe Flacco this week. Why? Why?
Why? They didn't know what they had in Mike White.
Yeah, they didn't know what they had. Yeah, so could Mike White be an upgrade for the Jets' weapons over Zach Wilson?
I mean, yes, especially for Michael Carter. I mean,
so let's go under the assumption that, like I do, I assume you agree with me that Zach Wilson is going to take the job back.
200%. You don't spend the number overall 2 pick to give the job to a backup after.
The reason why Zach Wilson's going to get the job back is because the Jets GM is not going to survive Zach Wilson not getting the job back. Like when you take a quarterback that high, the coach and the GM don't get another chance. So especially the GM. So he will either Zach Wilson succeeds or the GM won't have a job.
Yep.
So unfortunately, Zach Wilson's going to go back in. But I think Mike White might have earned himself a contract as like the Jets' long-term backup. And, if he's going to play like this, he's someone who should be rostered on the back of Superflex rosters. But enough about Mike White. Zach Wilson. At this point, I assume it's easy that you would rather have Justin Fields or Mac Jones.
Look at that reverse. Last week it was Zach Wilson over Fields, and then Fields.
I was never there.
No?
No.
Some people were there.
No, I was not there. No, I was not high on Zach Wilson. I was talking about Mac Jones versus Justin Fields. That was my debate.
That's the one.
But Wilson, I had lower. That I was not debating Wilson with those two. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't think you're discussing Wilson with those guys. I mean, Wilson. So Dynasty, Wilson or Aaron Rodgers?
You got to go Aaron Rodgers.
At this point, I think I have to go with Aaron Rodgers.
It's 3 years, but it's 3 years of high level production.
It's something.
Or if he plays on like Brady, we never know.
What about? I mean, who knows? What about Kirk Cousins? Ooh. Not good from Kirk Cousins today. Not good.
Give me Zach Wilson just solely based off of job security.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with that. I think Minnesota is done with Kirk Cousins.
Remember,
I think Minnesota is looking for the exit ramp.
Remember that they almost had the exit ramp this past April or May, whenever the draft. I forget what month the draft was, but they were going to draft Fields.
They wanted Justin Fields.
They wanted Fields. And
Kirk Cousins looked putrid again. And I think they're looking for a way out. So I think I would rather have Zach Wilson and just take my chances. And then, the next guy I actually have lower than Kirk Cousins, but I think that ranking is wrong. What about Derek Carr versus Zach Wilson?
Ooh, that's tough because I think Derek Carr is going to get a job somewhere else this offseason, but I think he's worthy of a job.
I don't think he's going to get a job somewhere else. I think he's going to retain that job. Oh, yeah. Why wouldn't he? He's 5-2.
You never know.
Do you realize how good Derek Carr has been this season?
Oh, I realize it.
Yeah. No, he has been – he's completing 67.7%. He's got 328.3 passing yards a game.
Okay, this is my mistake. I backpedaled to before Gruden was fired, and Gruden wanted to get rid of that man.
Yeah, but that's not the case. They're not getting rid of him.
They're not getting rid of him.
They're getting rid of a quarterback who's playing like that.
It's 1 a.m. I
think Carr is. At this point, I think I'd rather have Carr than Rodgers.
Oh yeah, Derek Carr's.
I think that Carr is misranked in my rankings because he's 3 years younger than Cousins, 8 years younger than Rodgers. Carr could have 6, 7, 8 years left of good production. So I think Carr I think is totally misranked. What about Ryan Tannehill versus Zach Wilson?
Ooh, it's a tough one.
Not good. Not good.
It's a good day fantasy wise.
But then he was injured.
I mean, you gotta take Zach Wilson for the youth. I think
I'll take Zach Wilson. Also, I'm not sure Ryan Tannehill looks so good today.
Fantasy wise, he did.
Fantasy wise in real life, and that's the same thing.
Oh no, I'm just saying.
Yeah, some of what he was doing today was not so excellent.
AJ Brown looked good though, so
and that's a very bad sign. He was capable of throwing to AJ Brown and no one else. So what does that tell you? That might tell you that's an AJ Brown thing. Because when AJ Brown was out, Ryan Tannehill was completely and utterly unusable and ineffective. So maybe this is telling you that AJ Brown is the special talent and Ryan Tannehill is nothing at this point.
I think yeah.
So I'd go with Zach Wilson. And then I assume you would prefer still Zach Wilson over these guys. Baker.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones.
Yep.
Carson Wentz.
Yep. Especially
Arnold.
Yep.
Tua.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. He's just got more job security than those guys. So it is what it is. But he's losing value. He is losing value. And it would be irresponsible to ignore it. Michael Carter is the Jets' workhorse.
Who saw that coming?
9 receptions for 95 yards on 14 targets, man.
Mike White. The power of Mike White.
I know. We had an Elijah Moore sighting. He caught all 6 of his targets for 67 yards.
Incredible day.
Even Minimal caught 2 passes today.
Stunning.
Minimal had 2 catches for 30 yards. I was so upset that Keelan Cole's touchdown was taken away.
Oh my gosh, that was catch of the day. Would have been a nominee for catch of the year.
Might have been the catch of the year.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Joe Mixon's catch was actually up there.
It was.
Mixon's
catch looked good again. Good again.
One of DK Metcalf's touchdowns was also very, very good catch.
Today.
Yeah.
I see Dave talking about Ty Johnson as well. Ty Johnson got involved. 5 for 71 on a touchdown.
I don't expect there to be 20 targets to running backs most weeks.
But next week, happening again.
Next week they play on Thursday.
Oh, they do. They play against the Colts.
Oh, the Colts. The Colts, not so excellent defense.
Yeah. I can rant about the Colts all day.
Unfortunately, Jamar Chase had a bad game.
I like how a bad game for Jamar Chase is now 14 points.
I know.
We're spoiled.
We are. Yeah. No, it was
game, but
not his best, but it's fine. It was not. Tyler Boyd got involved again.
They did.
Yeah, 5 for 69 and a touchdown.
That's gonna happen.
Higgins was so close to having a big day. What I do like about the Bengals is literally no one other than Higgins, Boyd, Uzama, Chase, and the running backs catch anything. There's no like Auden Tate or there's like the Jets. If you notice the Jets list of players who caught a ball, there's 10 people, whereas the Bengals only have 6.
Well, they don't even throw to Auden Tate when he's standing wide open with no one covering him.
But that's what I mean. Like the Bengals are very concentrated at least. So, but unfortunately, there's just not enough room for everyone to succeed every week.
Still can't believe that.
Oh my god.
Look good at it too. Zay the backup QB.
Do you want to take a victory lap on your Eagles?
No.
No, they won 44-6.
I know, but it was against the Lions. Like,
how do we feel about Kenneth Gainwell? 13 carries for 27 yards. By the way, he had 1 carry at the half. When the game was
Miles Sanders. Very Miles Sanders of him.
Yeah. I think I'm good on this backfield. I think I'm good. I don't think I want anyone.
Oh, not at all. It's
Boston Scott is now the starter. We heard about that, right?
Oh, he's a starter now?
He is, yeah. Now he's the starter.
So he's going to get 3 carries next week.
That's right. But luckily, they have revived Jordan Howard. He looked good today. What a world. What a world we live in.
I showed the bet slip in the chat, didn't I? I was thinking about it. It was 36-1 for him to score twice. I'm like, I should probably bet this, and I didn't.
Now, I have great news. Godwin Equibike saw time for the Lions today.
Everyone's seen time.
I have no idea who that is. Apparently, it's a running back.
Jamar Jefferson scored.
I know. That's he'll be a waiver wire pickup in Dynasty leagues. Thoughts on Kamara will enter the industry? Oh, well, I mean, if Taysom Hill is coming in, that's going to be a problem. That will be a problem. Kamara's going to lose about 30% of his value.
Oh yeah, and it's not like we have a large sample size too. Not a small.
We know
exactly. Large sample size. Like this
I'm not going to hear that Kamara is going to be just fine because he's not
going to be just fine.
He's not going to be just fine. I'm not going to hear that.
We've seen it over an extended period of time.
We see this all the time when Taysom Hill comes into the game. We know that this is going to be bad. We know it's going to be bad. So we're not just going to pretend that he's going to be fine. Jamar Jefferson has a nice profile. Yes, I mean, I thought he was going to be drafted a lot higher in the 7th round. So that kind of killed his profile. He was drafted in the 7th round. There was another injury today. I just didn't think nobody cared. Jalen Reagor was carded.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, but nobody cared because nobody noticed. It was like he wasn't even there in the first place. You think you could just, honestly, let's say Jalen Reagor is out for the season and you don't have an IR spot. Would you just cut Jalen Reagor from your dynasty rosters?
Probably.
Just cut him. I'm fine with that. Yeah, what has he done to deserve a spot on your dynasty roster?
Nothing. I'll take my L. I know there's been a lot of.
I can take my L too. I was very high on Jalen Reagor.
I was too. I was super high. It was.
Yeah. No, 114 passing yards today. I guess the offense was so good I can't really complain. Jalen Reagor, he had 2 rushes for 21 yards. Devonta Smith, one catch for 15. Not good.
No.
Not good. Not good enough. Not good enough.
Use him right. I don't know.
Who is Jack Stoll?
That's a great question.
Yeah. He's their backup tight end. Add Tyree Jackson.
Yes.
In tight end premium. So he'll be much more effective. Dallas Goedert at least quieted a little bit of the critics today. He caught 72 of the 114 passing yards. So actually, he had a really good game considering.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he had a majority of receptions and a majority of yards. Majority.
Oh, so yeah. Clear majority.
Yeah, no, I liked Dallas Goedert, what he did for us today. So this was encouraging. If in a 112-yard passing game, or whatever it was, 114, you were still happy with Dallas Goedert.
Right.
And unfortunately, you have to add Boston Scott. I'm
Philly
sorry.
legend. Did I mention
you do.
This?
You do.
Philly legend Boston Scott. I talked about this last week.
Does Kenneth Gainwell carry like any dynasty value? Any, really? I mean, after this, dynasty. Kenneth Gainwell, or I'll ask you a couple of these.
Oh,
Kenneth Gainwell or Myles Gaskin?
I think you gotta go Myles Gaskin. I just don't trust Gainwell. I don't trust Gainwell.
I think that was easily Gaskin. So yeah. Let's go lower. Gainwell or Madison?
I think you gotta go Madison.
I think so. I do. Hubbard. What about Hubbard?
Ooh, Hubbard.
He had 24 carries today.
I mean, yeah. When you get the workload, you have to go with it. And Gainwell's never going to get 24 carries.
I think that we're in the wrong value range. Let's go way lower. So what about Nyheim Hines? He did not much today.
I mean, it's basically the same player kind of role, at least role-wise.
Yeah.
Give me Hines.
I'll take Hines because he's done it.
He's done it, and he's taken work from JT and
I'll exclude Chris Carson completely because I think Chris Carson's career is over. So we can just exclude Chris Carson. I literally think Chris Carson never plays another down in the NFL. Right. Neck injuries are serious. So forget him for a minute. We'll talk about him later in another episode. Melvin Gordon. Would you rather have the rest of Melvin Gordon's career on the balance?
Probably. Or they give him the work.
Gordon looked good today. Again.
2 scores.
Probably rather have Gordon. I'd probably just Gainwell can give you nothing. I'd probably just have the rest of Gordon's career, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gordon's going to be in the NFL next year.
Oh, yeah. He's not going to be out of the NFL. He's going to be out of Denver.
I don't think he'll be in Denver, but I think he'll be in the NFL. So I'll just take the rest of Gordon's career over Gainwell at this point. What about Devin Singletary?
That's probably the line.
I think we're there. I think we're kind of in the right range.
I will Gainwell because Devin Singletary hasn't shown anything, and Gainwell's going to get at least another opportunity, most likely in his career, to show something.
Yeah, Gainwell. Singletary is also a mover down for me this week, but I'll take Gainwell over Singletary. And then let's go a little bit lower. Jamal Williams is a big mover down this week, so I'd take Gainwell over him.
Yeah.
And then a couple of other veterans. James Conner.
Ooh, I'd probably take James Conner, honestly.
So would I. I think Conner's too low. Kenyon Drake.
Ooh, he's looked good this season.
He's looked good, yeah. I think I would rather have Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, I agree.
Of something. What about Rojo?
Oh, I think See, I'm one of those people that thinks Rojo's going to find a new team and hopefully.
Don't look at the box score. How many carries did Rojo get today?
I'll look at the box score. It's probably a 0.
No, don't look at it.
Oh, don't.
How many do you think he got?
Oh, I didn't look. I'll just go and say 2.
3.
That was close.
He had 1 reception. Giovanni Bernard had two carries, but he turned those into 30 yards.
And he scored through the air, so
for the season, Rojo has totaled a measly 44 rushing attempts in 8 games. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. So that's going to be unacceptable. So not Rojo. So I'll take Gainwell. I'll take my chances. And then what about the other two failures? Two more failures. Trey Sermon.
Kenneth Gainwell. At least he showed something.
Trey Sermon didn't even get on the field. All right, those people never let it go. Trey Sermon is better than Elijah Mitchell because the film says so.
People who pick Trey Sermon are kicking themselves right now because you probably picked him over Michael Carter.
At some point, it doesn't matter what the film said. We're in the reality. The reality is that Trey Sermon is not getting on the field, and he must suck. Like, there's something wrong with him. I don't know what it is, but obviously he's not doing very well. So the reality of the situation is that he's bad. So, the film was a long time ago. That film there's no NFL film to look at.
No.
So
that one carry where he fumbled.
Yeah, it was one carry, which he fumbled and got a concussion on.
Yeah.
That's his one carry. But yeah, what about Ramondre Stevenson, though? He's been up and down, but at least he's been
up at some point.
At least he's played.
At least he's played, yeah. I mean,
yeah, he had 8 carries for 25 today and 1 catch.
I think this is a coin flip at this point. Damian Harris has looked really good this season.
Yeah, I think I'm like up on the fence between Ramondre Stevenson. I'd probably rather have Gainwell because he honestly I don't really want either player. But yeah, so we see where he is in the value range. Okay. There were a lot of Dave saying which one he would take. Rojo's a poor man, Damian Harris. No.
I mean, he doesn't get receptions.
No. Damian Harris is far better than Rojo. Rojo won't ever be a starter. Rojo's not going to be in the league next year. Rojo's going to be on his couch. Gainwell over Sermon, I agree.
Yeah. And
Gainwell has no real upside. That's actually very true. Gainwell's upside, if he hits, is Nyheim Hines.
Yeah.
And we know that now. We know that they're never going to trust Gainwell with the work now. Now we know that. We learned that this week, that they're not going to trust him.
Man, those Dynasty second rounds went a lot like Rondell Moore, Michael Carter, Trey Sermon, and Kenneth Gainwell, like in that group of 4.
Yeah, you either really hit or you really didn't.
Yeah, really.
So from Caleb. Caleb, believe joined my Patreon today.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, Caleb. Will A.J. Dillon or Tony Pollard have starting positions in the next few years? And will Michael Carter be the starter next year? So let's take these one at a time because I think these are good questions.
Very.
Dillon had a pretty good game on Thursday night. What was he, 16 for 78 or something?
Yeah.
Do you think A.J. Dillon is ever a starting running back?
Ever, yes. Soon, I couldn't tell you. Because Aaron Jones still has big money on his contract. And they're not going to trade him.
I think A.J. Dillon, I would say yes.
At some point. He's looked effective when he gets the ball, he's effective. So
yeah, I would say he will be. Tony Pollard?
Ooh, this one's tough. I'd say yes.
Why? I'm going to say no. He's not going to be a starter. I think Tony Pollard is what he is.
I gotta look at the contract. Is he a free agent this year?
Well, it's not that. No, it's nothing to do with the contract. I think Tony Pollard is what he is. Like, he's not gonna be a starter. He shouldn't be. He's fine in a limited role. I mean, he's had 10 or more carries actually most weeks, but I don't think you could give him 20 carries. You can't.
He'll be a free agent at 20. His age 26 season. Okay,
I just don't think he's ever going to be a starter. I think he's good we have players like this. Who, if you give them a full role, they don't succeed, but they're good in a bit part role. Like, Jamal Williams. They can take a workhorse role for a game or two, but you don't really want them to. They're better spelling someone. And I kind of think that's what he is. Kenyon Drake is like that too, actually. Kenyon Drake flopped as a workhorse, but he's actually been pretty good as a complimentary piece.
Except that legendary playoff run.
I know. Well, no, that was his one. He beat the odds for 8 games, but the rest of his career, he was good as a compliment.
Beat the odds. Second round ADP in the
supporting my guy Tyler. Oh, thank you, Colin. Colin's been one of my biggest supporters for a while, so I appreciate you.
So
And then, the last, Michael Carter. Michael Carter, I think, is a good one. So will Michael Carter be the Jets starter next year?
I believe so.
Now I'm leaning yes. Before this game, I was leaning no because he only had 4th-round draft capital. He hadn't really taken a lot of command of anything. But now I'm leaning yes. I would say yes. He's going to be the kind of dynasty asset I run away from when the price goes up, though. His 4th-round capital, a little – I don't like players like that. But I would lean yes at this point.
I agree.
But you never know. I mean, the Jaguars had James Robinson, and then they way better than Michael Carter will ever be. And they drafted a running back in the 1st round. So who knows? But I would lean yes. But I want to be careful not to overvalue him. I want to be careful. I want to temper expectations.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a feeling I'm going to recommend him as a dynasty sell this offseason if his price rises. But as of now, I would lean yes if I had to guess, but with a high degree of risk. Only Pollard has a chance to be a starter. I actually think Pollard is the only one of those who has no chance to be a starter at all. So I actually totally disagree. You're right. I'm going to disagree. Yeah, no, I disagree. I think Pollard is the one of those who can't be a starter. A.J. Dillon could totally be a starter. A.J. Dillon, I think, will be. I think A.J. Dillon is the Packers' next starting running back. They can get out of Jones's contract after 2022, and then there'd still be 1 year left on Dillon's contract. So they could try Dillon out as a starter in the last year of his rookie deal and then deal with it later.
What a draft class.
That's kind of what I think their plan is at the moment, is to ride Jones for 2 years or until he wears down and then try out Dillon as the starter and then decide if they're going to go with Dillon on another contract or move on to another guy.
Unbelievable.
I totally think Dillon could be.
Oh, yeah.
Reactions. Well, yeah, there's always reactions. I love reacting. Okay, let's put a hold on that because we don't know this trading for James Robinson. We don't know there's an issue with his ankle, and I've heard he's going to miss significant time. So I would not do that right now. Let's see how much time he's going to miss. I don't want to trade for a player with an uncertain injury. That would do that. All right. Did you have any other big takeaways from today? Because I think Mike White was one of the biggest, and I think Mike White
was the biggest.
Yeah, he was probably the biggest. I mean, Cooper Rush. But Cooper Rush is different. We know Dak Prescott is not getting benched.
No, never.
So Dak Prescott's going to retain the starting job. It's really just a question of Cooper Rush's career. And I don't think Cooper Rush looked as good as Mike White. Okay. So, but from that game, did Cedric Wilson earn himself a contract?
Yes. Maybe even at quarterback. No, I'm kidding.
He looked pretty good at quarterback. That was a great ball he threw.
Oh yeah, 35 yards. Good for him.
You know what I think is going to happen here? I think they're just going to let Michael Gallup walk, and they're going to retain Cedric Wilson on a cheap deal. If you're Cedric Wilson and the Cowboys offer you 3 years and $11 million to be their depth wide receiver 3, and they know they can slot him in, probably take it, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't think he's going to get more. So, I actually think that my prediction now is the Cowboys try to retain him. And now they just easily let Gallup walk.
Yeah, I don't know where
they're going to keep Amari and Lamb. And it's Gallup is gone. And now it's just a question of, do they keep Cedric Wilson? I think they're going to try. If I were them, I would try to extend him now.
Oh, yeah.
On the cheap before the
price is only going to go up.
Before the price goes
Gallup sits.
And then Cedric Wilson is a good wide receiver handcuff to hang on to long term. In case Lamb or Cooper ever got hurt, then he would be playable with Dak. So he's someone who should be on dynasty rosters. I do think so. I think he's someone who should be on dynasty rosters at this point. He should not be on waivers anymore. He should be rostered. Definitely someone I would roster. For long-term potential for James
Robinson, the industry.
Oh, James Robinson.
Yeah, I said the industry.
Yeah, that could
I
be
gotta
something.
go to bed, bro.
I know. Yeah, Gallup will be back soon, but I'd hold on to Wilson anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're trading Mixon away in a dynasty league, what do you think you can get?
It depends. I mean, I don't know if you're going to get another young elite wide receiver. I don't think you're going to get any Jefferson, Chase, not at all. Maybe McLaurin. Maybe that might be the range you're going for. No, too high.
You can try. That's what I would try. That would be what I'd try. You mean you can get Godwin?
Depends on the situation.
You might be able to get Godwin. You can get Debo. I'd try Godwin. If you can't get Godwin, I'd try Debo.
I don't know if the Debo manager would want to trade him away.
They might not, but there's some people who still don't believe in Debo. Cedric seems capable, at least as wide receiver. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's what I think he's going to be. Yeah, you can release Fehoko from your tax. He has 0 value. He wasn't even active for today's game. Wasn't even active. He's finished. No. I could name 100 people I would rather have. So no Fehoko for me. He's had his time, and I'm done with him. Moving on to other players who actually matter. Try Godwin, and then if you can't get him, then always try. I mean,
of course, the worst thing you do is get a decline, maybe an angry message.
I sent an angry message. I mean, someone thought that.
I heard that one.
Yeah, someone thought that Marquise Brown, a good fair offer was Marquise Brown for Terry McLaurin and a 2nd-round pick. I was like, are you kidding? I'm insulted.
Sent offer for 5 best players for 3rd.
No, I was like, this was one of the Patreon things, and I was like, I can't anymore. I'm just done. Yeah, I think this is something worth addressing, honestly. Do you expect the Broncos to bring back Gordon after this year, or is it the Javonte show next year? I'm worried about this. I am. I'm concerned. I'm worried that this is going to happen. I really am. And that would be bad. I think they might. I mean, someone's going to employ Melvin Gordon next year to be a complimentary back, a timeshare. I mean,
Javonte's value is already at Melvin Gordon being cut next season.
It is, yeah. And I think we need to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Javonte Williams is going to break out, though. I still do. But I'm going to be concerned if it doesn't happen. Like, if we don't get what Cam Akers and J.K. Dobbins did at the end of last season. I'm going to be concerned if it doesn't happen. I'm going to lower his value, but I'm going to be waiting for it. And yeah, it is. It's
there. We're full on there already. You can't get Javonte for.
No, you can't get him, and I'm starting to have some concerns. Small concerns about that. But it's probably too late to back away from Javonte Williams at this point. So hopefully he works out.
I mean, he's good at doing it work. So
yeah, he looks good. It's not a problem with that. It's not a talent issue. Okay, so any other big takeaways from today that you remember? Anything that caught your eye when you were watching the games? Because I'm trying to think of any of mine. I mean, we talked about Justin Fields already looking better. We didn't talk about Baker Mayfield looking bad.
That game was a mess.
That game was terrible.
Absolute mess.
From that game, Odell Beckham. 1 reception on 1 target for 6 yards. In redraft, can you just cut Odell Beckham?
It's so hard because it's Baker. It's not Odell. If I'm not mistaken, Odell was open on a deep route and then Baker overthrew him again. Run time 3.
He tried to make a 1. That was taken away by a penalty, but that target isn't in the box score. But yeah, I remember that. Look. I don't know. In redraft, though, assuming we get to Tuesday at 4:01 p.m. and Odell is still on the Browns, any reason to hang on to him in redraft, or can you cut him loose?
I don't think there's any reason. I mean, Baker's
I agree.
Not good at all.
Not good. I don't think there's any reason as well. I think you can cut him loose. I actually think there's more of a chance that Allen Robinson turns it around than OBJ. I'd rather hang on to Allen Robinson on the Bears than OBJ on the Browns.
Yeah.
OBJ is bordering on a must cut. in redraft. Whereas Allen Robinson, I still have some more hope.
Yeah.
Because Baker is what he is. Baker's shoulder's not going to get
Fields.
better. Baker's not going to become better. He's not going to have chemistry with Odell that he's never had. Whereas it's possible that Justin Fields could learn something over the next 5 weeks and suddenly Allen Robinson becomes good. I think that's more likely than Odell breaking out. I think Odell is just it's not going to happen with Baker. It's just not. And I think it's time to accept that. Najee Harris had 26 carries.
Look at that man go.
Pat Fryermuth scored.
I
love him in Dynasty. Still going to be
an impressive
tough.
catch.
Yeah, I saw that. It was very impressive. Risk reward seems to be a central feature of Dynasty. Yes, shocking. No, it's not shocking. I say this all the time.
It's a good point, though. I mean,
it is a good point, but I do say that.
The most valuable game is
Odell, man. You got to quit Odell. It's time.
Do it. I'm sorry. It hurts me too.
Honestly, I'm telling you, make you accept reality about players I like. That's what I do. I mean, I said this at the beginning of the show. I didn't like it. I mean, I love Calvin Ridley, for example, but it's reality of the game, right? It's, I really don't let my emotions dictate how I feel about players. Do I not really like Carson Failure? Do I not really like Tua? Do I not really like Juju? Sure. But you better believe it. If Carson Failure were suddenly playing really well, I would change my mind.
You like that throw today?
Which one?
The one at the end of the game.
The bad one or the good one?
The very, very bad one.
Yeah. That one was not good. Not good, and that one cost them the game. One cost them the game. So, not good.
Like I said, I could rant on endlessly about that team, about, JT only getting one touch in the last 2 drives of the game.
Yeah. It's really not Carson Wentz's fault, though. Other than that one interception was bad.
Oh, no, that one interception was very bad. But
it was very bad, but there were other good things. Michael Pittman, 10 receptions for 86 and 2 on 15 targets. Man can play.
That he can.
Yeah, I told you. I'm going to have him in that Jerry Jeudy group of value at this point. I mean, there's no other way.
You got him up there. I mean, he's constantly been showing the talent, and this is the numbers.
Dave says he's a glass cage of emotion. I'm emotional. I was going to say I'm emotional, but I'm not really. I'm just I'm not the happiest, it's getting a little personal, but I'm fine with that. I'm not the happiest person in the world, but I'm not very swingy. I'm pretty monotonous emotion-wise. I definitely struggle with not being super happy, but I'm not very emotional as a person. So, some people call me the fantasy robot. I think that's a little harsh because obviously you see me on the show. I'm exciting, but my takes are a little chalky. I'll own that. I'm on the chalky side. Cool. So he would like to know Deontay Johnson's value in Dynasty Contender versus Rebuild versus Middle of the Road team. Deontay Johnson's only 25.
Yep. I value him the same.
Yeah. He's young enough as a wide receiver that I wouldn't really. If I were in a true rebuild, I'd be fine trying to move him. But I'm not I don't have to. He's a player I could hang on to in a rebuild. If I don't get my price, I don't get my price. I
think you could see a dip, especially with that Pittsburgh quarterback situation upcoming. It's going to happen.
But if I could trade Deontay Johnson for Jerry Jeudy plus, I would. Is what I'm saying. I would. I would do that in a rebuild. I would do that in a contender. I would not do that.
We always want to multiply your chances in a rebuild. So
sure, but also I like Jerry Jeudy.
Oh yeah, well,
I love Jerry Jeudy. Long term,
you're getting the same level of talent and a bonus. So
it's true. I love Jerry Jeudy.
Always take the bonuses.
Jerry Jeudy, it's just man.
Unless it's Jamar Chase, and don't take the bonuses.
No, don't trade Jamar.
We don't take bonuses around those parts.
Okay. So, did we miss anything big?
I'm looking around at the slate right now. I mean,
I mean, there were some disappointing things. Okay. I have some obituaries. Laviska Shenault.
Tough.
Yeah. We have a problem. 12 targets for Jamal Agnew, 4 for Laviska Shenault. 6 receptions, Jamal Agnew, 2 Laviska Shenault. 38 receiving yards, Jamal Agnew, 13 Laviska Shenault. 8 targets for Carlos Hyde. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. So in redraft,
10 for Dan Arnold.
Well, we didn't even get to that because at least they traded for Dan Arnold. At least it's something. Sure. I noticed we didn't even mention Marvin Jones, 7 targets. In redraft, cut him. Cut him. You can never play him. I recommended him as a start this week for some people. I had him wide receiver 34. Forget it. Forget it. He's outside my top 50 at this point. Never again. Never again. It's in Dynasty. Forget it. I'm done. I'm done with him. I'm done with Laviska Shenault. I mean, I'd be debating at this point, like Laviska Shenault or Van Jefferson at this point. That's kind of where I am. I'm deciding between those two.
Van Jefferson's looked good this season.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. That's my decision. Do I want Laviska Shenault or Van Jefferson? But I don't even know, like, who'd you rather have, Laviska Shenault or DJ Chark?
I can't quit Shenault. It's going to come back to bite me.
Shenault sucks, though. Chark at least looked okay before he was hurt. Also, Chark could get out of there.
That is true. That's a big bonus.
With Shenault, I mean, at some point, I'm not going to drop him that far, but it's so frustrating because he's just doing nothing. But value gets so ugly. Like, do I really want Corey Davis over him? I don't want Corey Davis either. Do I want?
It's tough.
Do I want
him just sit there?
Not really, but maybe. I mean, do I want Jacoby Myers? It's so uninspiring.
He's gonna score that touchdown
eventually.
He got in the end zone. Wasn't a touchdown, but he got there.
It's just ugly.
Baby steps.
I mean, Laviska Shenault. If there's someone who still believes in him, it's time to move on.
There's gonna be believers. I mean, I'm kind of still a believer, but will I go out and trade for him? Probably not.
No, you can't do that.
At this point, you can't do that.
All right, let's say let's talk about this. Next week, let's put it in the most blunt possible terms. Next week, you can start either Laviska Shenault or Jamal Agnew. Your life is on the line.
Oh my.
Your life is on the line next week between Laviska Shenault and Jamal Agnew. You're playing for your life. Who would you start?
Jamal Agnew. You gotta chase the opportunity, and it hurts. It hurts to say that, but you said I'm playing for my life. If I was playing for my heart, it'd be Shenault. But we're not.
As sad as it is, that's where we are. It is Jamal Agnew. To me, Marvin Jones is still the one. Marvin Jones is still the one. He had 7 targets. He had 5 receptions. I think some of this was an aberration on at least Carlos Hyde's 8 targets. And Dan Arnold's 10, I think, is a little bit. But Marvin Jones is the only one that you're really going to be able to play. I don't think I'm going to have Agnew or Shenault inside my top 50. You just can't. You can't play him. You just can't.
Hurts.
But Marvin Jones, you should be able to play.
That Shenault dream was crazy too. In the preseason,
I know. I was right there.
I was there too.
That's why I feel so burned now. Carlos Hyde is a good waiver ad, though.
Yeah,
if he was on waivers, he needs to be added. He's a priority ad. The Seahawks concentrated their receptions to 4 players: Lockett, Metcalf, Everett, and Travis Homer. And Everett and Homer only caught 1 pass each.
I mean,
so this was Tyler Lockett. I said Lockett to start this week. A lot of people were like, I can't do it. I don't want to start him. And I was like, well, don't listen to me. 12 for 143 and on 13 target, or 12 for 142. Who would have thought?
When you hit those Tyler Lockett weeks, it's just pure bliss.
No, Metcalf was good too. 6 for 42 touchdowns.
That's what happens.
Russell Wilson, I think, could come back next game.
That'd be a huge boost, especially for Lockett. We could put him up higher in the weekly rankings now.
Also, you can feel free to cut DJ Dallas from your Dynasty roster. People were telling me, oh, DJ Dallas will get opportunity. DJ Dallas will see playing time in the offense. And I was like, no. Fuck no. Fuck no. He sucks. 1 carry for 6 yards. That's it. No, nothing else. Rashad Penny, 7 carries for 7 yards, including multiple times stuffed on the goal line. Yeah, they're going to have a new starting running back in 2022. It's not going to be any of these guys. Chris Carson, I think, never plays again. Personally, I do. I don't think he ever plays again. So value him accordingly. I would just sell for anything I can get. Alex Collins looked okay. Pedestrian. As usual. Not good. Trevor Lawrence also. Not good.
Yeah.
Not good. Not today. Today was not his day.
No.
Oh, Laviska Shenault is going to be the end of me.
I mean, there was 2 major hype trains in the offseason, Brandon Ayuk and Laviska Shenault. It seems like at least 95% of the fantasy community got taken out by one or both of those hype trains.
Yeah, I was on Shenault, but not Ayuk, really.
I was kind of on Ayuk, but like not majorly.
Oh, speaking of the hype train.
Oh no.
We have to hit them where it hurts. We do.
Oh, I know where this is going.
We do.
No. It's been fun. Dave, I know you're still in the chat. I'll see you later.
We do. So, Antonio Gibson, out-carried by Jarrett Patterson. Antonio Gibson, 3 receptions compared to 8 for J.D. McKissick. His receptions went for 20 yards, but 83 for McKissick.
Pain. Pure pain.
You can't start Antonio Gibson anymore. You can't start him. How can you start him? 8 carries and 3 receptions is not good enough. Not good enough. Unacceptable. So, yeah. No. This is a problem.
It's a problem.
We have a problem here.
You're stuck. Because
you are.
You either bought in at the hype of the 3-down value when he was valued at.
When was that? Well, I really hope you didn't buy in at that stage.
No, I had him on 2 months. Oh no, my one trade still looks amazing.
Not good.
I think that was Matt.
Not good. He's got nothing out of those 3 first. Nothing at all.
All right.
At this point, would you rather have Antonio Gibson or Joe Mixon?
Joe Mixon.
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. It hurts.
Hurts, right? Would you rather have Gibson or James Robinson? Let's say James Robinson's healthy. This is just
yes, James Robinson. It hurts.
It's tough. Rest of season, so not Dynasty now. Rest of season, Gibson would be your running back what?
I'd probably just put him at 24 and just – it hurts.
35.
35.
For me. 35. I'm done. Done. I've seen enough.
So the teams that I have Gibson on, I acquired him. I'm looking at the trades right now. The one league, it was Dalton Schultz, Van Jefferson, a 2nd and a 4th. So I'm like, I could live with that.
You could live with that.
And the other one was Mike Evans and Odell. It just kind of hurts.
Let me tell the people something they're not going to want to hear. They won't want to hear it. But they're going to need to hear it. I'd rather have J.D. McKissick in PPR rest of season than Antonio Gibson. They don't want to hear that. But I can't take it anymore. Antonio Gibson needs to be shut down for multiple weeks. Multiple weeks. I mean, he's not healthy. He looks terrible.
It was all there. The profile, the switch from wide receiver, and
a stress fracture is a problem.
Oh, that's definitely a problem. I was talking
that's the problem. You can't use him. You can't use him. You can't play him. You can't start him.
But like he wasn't effective.
I mean, I'm not wrong. I know that I'm right. I mean, if Jared Patterson is going to get 11 carries, then in a game that, by the way, let's not forget, the game was competitive. It was 17-10. There was a final drive. It's not like it was a blowout. Jared Patterson was involved from the beginning. Not good. Not good. And there are still some people who are having a little case of take lock on Antonio Gibson. He wasn't good before the stress fracture. He was fine, but he wasn't what you wanted. And now he's really not what you wanted. So it's time to so if you waited, let's say that you just stuck to your post-rookie season takes on Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs. You waited until now to change your mind. It's a little late, right? A little late. You're stuck holding the bag. People have come around. They don't like that player anymore. I think that's where we're going with Antonio Gibson. I think we're going down that dangerous path.
Hold on. Post the most recent comment from Dave, because I feel like this is a talking point. Because this could be the next. This
is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this.
This could be the next potential sell window for Gibson.
Well, I don't want to wait. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get better the rest of this season, because if you see, that's the problem. People don't understand this. If you continue to play through a stress fracture, it's actually going to get worse. It's not going to heal as you go. It doesn't work that way.
Well, assume he gets shut down, then it's still another window.
But they're not going to do that. It would be better for his value you see that, right? It would be better for his value if they just shut him down, but they're not going to do that. If he continues to play and plays poorly and looks bad, it's going to hurt his value more than not playing at all. Wouldn't it? Don't you think that Joe Mixon was punished last offseason because you had to deal with it every week? If they just said from the beginning, Joe Mixon is going on IR, he will miss the rest of the season, people would have put his value down once. But since it was every week talking about Joe Mixon being a problem, then his value got put down multiple times. So that's what's going to happen with Antonio Gibson.
See, I was way up there. I had Gibson in my top 5. I was one of those people. I was on that. It hurts, but like I said, I have him on my team for nothing. It's whatever, but you got to adjust. It's pain.
I liked Antonio Gibson a lot when he was cheap. I was all in on him in the 2019 class, I guess it was, or 2020. I can't even.
2019. You're right. I'm wrong.
No, it was 2020. No, it wasn't. Yeah. No, it was. Oh, this is what happens this is what happens at 1:40 in the morning. It's okay. Nobody's still watching anyway.
They're still here.
Actually, there's still 7 people watching it live. Forget about who's going to watch it later. But yeah. Well, I'm definitely quick.
Yeah,
I'm definitely on the quick side. And he's going down. Oh, yeah.
You got to go down.
You might want to not do that.
I don't know what you get from at this point.
Yeah, no. By the way, for the record on Miles Sanders, just so I can go on the record, give me Elijah Mitchell today in Dynasty today. Elijah Mitchell over Miles Sanders, and it's not even close. Not even close. It's not a decision. I didn't have to think about it. It wasn't a debate. It was easy. It was easy. I didn't have to consider it. It's Elijah Mitchell over Miles Sanders by a mile. What about Elijah Mitchell versus Gibson? Is this going to be the end of you?
Yeah, it's going to be the end of me.
Yeah.
We're going to get there, though, because Elijah Mitchell is going to provide at least RB2 numbers rest of the way.
I know.
And
I don't think I'm quite there, but I don't think we're not miles away. I mean, Elijah Mitchell is one of the biggest risers of the week again.
Dominated again.
I know. I mean, at this point, I don't know what to do with Antonio Gibson.
There's a high probability that the scenario you just mentioned with Mitchell, we get there.
Antonio Gibson, I think, has already fallen out of the high-end tier to me. We chose Mixon over him. We chose Jones. But I still think he's above the next group. So it's kind of, we have to go cross-position. Antonio Gibson or Jerry Jeudy?
Hit me where it hurts. You got to go Jerry Jeudy. I mean,
I have to go. I have to agree. I have to go with Jerry Jeudy. Jalen Waddle.
Give me Jalen Waddle. That one hurts.
I didn't even ask about Deebo Samuel because I don't think that's a question.
It's not a question. Deebo
not
Samuel.
A question. We know it's Deebo.
0-1 numbers. Gibson's
yeah, we know that one's not a debate. Deontay Johnson.
Deontay, pretty easily for me.
I'm going to have to take Deontay Johnson. Devonta Smith.
Yes, but we're getting there for me.
We're getting there. And I think I'm going to have it the same way as you, with Pittman in there as well. I think I'm going to have it Jeudy. I think I'm going to have it Jeudy, Pittman, Deontay, Waddle, Smith in that order. So I'd have it close between Smith and Gibson. And then next is Chase Claypool, and I think we found the line, for at least for me.
Yeah, I think you got to take the chance at Gibson at that point. You're taking a chance on Claypool, basically. So,
yeah, Claypool, Higgins, Ridley, and Mike Williams is tricky, but he's in there too. But yeah, no, I think Gibson. So that means Gibson is going to move from 27 overall in 1 QB leagues to around 40. So he's going to move down a whole other round. Ouch. I'm going to go cry. I'm so sorry.
Yes,
but
it's okay.
A lot of people were in on Gibson, and this is tough. It's a tough conversation. Yeah, no, it's tough that it's even a conversation, but who's looked better this year, right? I mean, at some point, you have to recognize what Elijah Mitchell is doing, right? You do. Yeah. And he had another monster game. Another one. 18 for 137 and 1.
Crazy.
Man. And that's without even Trey Lance to open up the lanes for him.
Gonna be scary next year. That could be another window for Elijah Mitchell to get in. It might be too late though. During the offseason.
No, at this point, I think Elijah Mitchell's their guy. I think Elijah Mitchell is their guy. And I think that I've never seen people go down with the ship harder than they're going down with the ship on Trey Sermon. I just don't understand. That one I just don't get. With Antonio Gibson, I get it. Like Antonio Gibson had a great rookie year. He actually produced in the NFL. He scored a bunch of touchdowns this rookie year. He was efficient. He looked good. I get going down the ship with Antonio Gibson. I even get it with Miles Sanders. He's been effective on the ground for his whole career.
His coaches
I get why you would go down with the ship. Yeah, the coaches don't like him.
Coaches don't like him for some reason.
He underperformed in the receiving game versus his profile. I understand there are arguments, but with Trey Sermon, there's literally nothing. He's had 3 NFL carries.
And obviously, one game with 20.
I mean, really, honestly, name one running back who had day 1 or day 2 capital, so they were expected to be a starter or contributor immediately, who came out, busted their rookie year, and then came and became anything good at all later. Can you name even one?
I can't think of one.
How to come up with one?
You can't do it. I mean,
there aren't any.
No.
There aren't any. If you look at the busts, you want to hear the names? Here are some of the people who busted their rookie year. Often because another player emerged ahead of them. Rashad Penny. How did that go?
Not good.
Good or bad?
No.
Not good.
Not at all.
Chris Carson became the starter and never looked back. Let's look at another one. Royce Freeman. How did that go? Was that good or bad?
Very bad.
Very bad. Philip Lindsay became the starter and once again never looked back. So how did those two go? What about Ronald Jones? Ronald Jones, complete bust rookie year. How did that go? Was that any good?
It was better than the other two.
Better than the other two, but would you call Ronald Jones a second-round pick? Would you call his career a success or a failure? I'd probably call it a failure.
But better than Penny and first round.
Right. So these are the examples in recent times of players who, running backs who had early capital and then, busted out early capital and busted out.
Monty Ball's a good one too.
Darius Geis. What about that one?
Not good.
Not good.
Gibson took that job.
Yeah, no, not good. And Darius Geis had his legal issues. So that was just the 2018 draft. What about 2019? Let's see if it got better. Let's see if it got better. So unfortunately, the 2019 class doesn't have too many running backs who actually had that kind of capital. But let's see. Darrell Henderson. It's actually worked out pretty well. He's actually probably the shining success example. Bust, good. He's probably the best example. Damian Harris too. So it's not all bad, but it's usually bad. It's usually bad. There are examples of it being good. I mean, so I don't want people to just dismiss it, but typically when the job, if you notice, Darrell Henderson was drafted to be a backup and then, eventually worked his way after injuries. Damian Harris, again, drafted to be Sony Michel's backup. The problem with Trey Sermon, if you notice the other ones, the ones where it didn't work out, Royce Freeman lost his job to a UDFA. Rashad Penny lost his job to a 7th rounder. When you lose the job when you're not supposed to, you don't usually come back from that. If you're intended to be a backup and then you become, a starter later, that's one thing. But if you lose the job, you usually don't get it back. So,
look, Kyle Shanahan's not playing him now. If Kyle Shanahan I can't speak. If he keeps the job, what are the odds he's going to start him next year? 0. Get any playing time. It's going to be 0.
I mean, he had 19 carries in week 4.
That's because Elijah Mitchell was out.
Yeah, I know. And then he's in the 3 games Elijah Mitchell has played. He's had he was healthy scratch, 1, 3, and 0% of snaps. I don't know how many snaps in this game. And he's had a total of 2 carries and 1 fumble.
Not good.
Not good.
Not good at all.
Oh, no. I'm sorry.
Don't worry. I don't know where they are.
Yeah, good rookie season falls off. That's more common. Monty Ball, that was a while ago. And Sony Michel. Yeah, Sony Michel is definitely good rookie season then fell off for sure. But yeah, there were a lot of takeaways. I don't think we really missed anything, right? I think we covered a lot of different games, a lot of different stuff. Yeah. Tua looked bad again. Cooper Kupp is a monster. We know that.
Uncoverable at this point.
Uncoverable. Oh, Brevin Jordan. Pick up Brevin Jordan on your Dynasty waiver wires. He got in the game and he scored.
Yeah. What was it? 3 for 41, I believe.
Yes, and a touchdown. So he's someone to watch. And also, you just eliminate Tutu Atwell from your Dynasty roster completely. It's not good that Ben Skowronek came in and had 3 catches for 30 yards, and Tutu Atwell can't even get on the field. You just eliminate Tutu Atwell completely. You don't need him. He's a waste of your time.
Yeah. Hopefully got the coin flip right to take the high draft capital wide receiver late, and you took Tony over Tutu.
Yeah. But I would rather have, honestly, I'm not sure I wouldn't rather have Ben Skowronek than Tutu Atwell. I think I'm just done. I'd add him, this Ben person that I don't know anything about, off of waivers at this point. Why not?
He plays for the Rams, gets on the field. You
want pieces of this offense, yeah.
However you can get him at this point, basically.
Also, remember when we thought David Johnson would get an increase in workload?
Yeah.
The Mark Ingram trade? Yeah, no, two carries for 4 yards and 1 reception for -1. Not good. You can't start any of these players. You just can't.
Yeah, I mean, none of them got significant.
Nobody did anything. You can't start any of them.
Brandon Cooks is the only
player
on the team.
Nico Collins is a good long-term stash.
Oh, for sure. 445.
How much is Tua's job security at risk? You think he's going to make it halfway through next season?
It's like up here. You can't see it.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 at risk. Maximum, whatever the maximum DEFCON level is, that's what it is. 10 out of 10. It's out of risk. It's at risk. Maximally at risk.
I mean,
I think the chances that Tua is the 2022 Dolphins starter are whatever the chances are that Deshaun Watson goes to jail. So whatever the chances is that Deshaun Watson goes to jail are the chances that Tua is their 2022 starter.
I agree.
So will you assign that value, whatever it is. But he wants to go there. They want him. And that's what's going to happen. Without Watson's legal situation, Watson would be the starter now. We know that. We know that already. And Tua looked like doggy poo-poo in today's. And terrible. Terrible. I mean, it's not good enough. 21 for 21 out of 39, 205 yards, an interception. He had a rushing touchdown, but he just wasn't able to move the ball today. He had Devontae Parker back, and it didn't help.
Not at all. I feel like that'd be a good episode, like adjusting quickly versus waiting.
What has Tua done to retain a job? He had a good game last week, but it wasn't good enough. They lost. And his interception was a lot of the reason why they lost that game. He had a critical interception at the end of the game. And this time they were in this game and the defense was keeping them in the game. And what a surprise. Another interception. Just not good enough.
I don't think he'll be out of a job because I think someone will want to start him at some point, but we're getting close.
He also fumbled today. Well, he was responsible for that.
I don't think it's crazy at all.
He's not going to have a job here. I just don't think so. At this point. They're going to trade for Deshaun Watson.
It's bound to happen. You could pencil that one in. Jalen Hurts. Pretty easy.
Jalen Hurts because Tua is completely unusable. If you started, yes, this was a bad game from Jalen Hurts, but it's the only week of the season he wasn't a QB1. If you started Tua this week, you got the rushing touchdown saved you, but don't count on that. Even with the rushing touchdown, what did you get?
15, because I started him somewhere. I had to. Or 7. Yeah, 15.2. He scored 4 more points than Hurts. This was the floor.
This was Hurts' floor. Yeah, it's not good.
I remember who was it? Spence that made the post that was arguing Tua or Hurts, and I think he argued for Hurts in the offseason. Got destroyed for it.
I don't even know with Tua. Would you rather have? I'd probably rather have Baker, I guess, because they're still going to extend him. Baker sucks, though.
I'd rather just take the shot on Hurts because if he starts tomorrow,
no, not with Hurts versus Tua.
Tua versus Baker. That's a tough question.
They both suck. I think that's really what it is.
I feel like Baker's going to get the extension though.
What about Daniel Jones?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think what are the Bears? What's the Bears' record again?
The Bears?
Yeah,
they just lost again. So 3-5.
3-5. Okay, so they're. I'm only asking that because the Giants have their pick.
Giants have the Bears pick, yeah.
So if it gets high, I think they could replace him. They're gonna have 2 high picks.
Yeah. There's this whole group. There's Baker, Daniel Jones, Carson Wentz, Tua, and Sam Darnold. And I think Sam Darnold is starting to fall out of that group.
Oh, I think
Sam Darnold is now more in the job has already been lost group than the still in contention for keeping the job group. I think Darnold has already lost the job. I think Darnold is already not going to be a starter next year.
Last week proved it. It's over.
Well, like, Baker's going to be the Browns starter in 2022. Carson Wentz is almost certainly going to be the Colts starter in 2022. Yeah. It's hard for them to get out of those contracts. And Baker, for some reason, even though he's been bad, they're committed to him. It's clear what their direction is. They're committed to him. Carson Wentz actually has been better than Baker. Yeah. And similarly, they're committed to him. They can't really move on. Also, with Carson Wentz, the GM and the head coach, I think, put their jobs on the line with Carson Wentz. I think they have to make Carson Wentz work, otherwise they're going to be fired.
Yeah, I agree, which is quite a bet.
Those two I know are going to get the job, and then Jones has the fantasy upside that the others don't have, even though his job security is weak. His is probably the weakest.
Yeah.
Because, well, it's interesting. Jones, we said this last week, but Jones versus Tua is an interesting Baker's not getting $30 million here. He better not.
It was floated, though. It was around this.
But I do think Jones and Tua are interesting because Jones, I think, is either going to be the quarterback of the Giants or not at all. And Tua is not going to be the quarterback of the Dolphins, but he could be the quarterback somewhere else.
Yeah. And I think Tua getting the start, if I had to bet between the two, I think Tua getting the start somewhere else.
The only thing is, though, that Jones, whenever he's playing, is like QB 15 rank at worst. Whereas Tua can be completely unusable in bad matchups.
And I think you got to take that risk.
So I take the risk with Jones and hope it pays off. I just think Tua is never going to be that exciting. So I guess I'd go with Jones, but I don't want any of these guys. I think that what this is all telling me, I don't even want the next tier. I don't want like your Carr. I mean, what Carr actually I want, but I don't want like Cousins or Tannehill or Rodgers at his age, Zach Wilson, Hurts at his value. I don't want any of those guys. What this is telling me is I want Mahomes, Murray, Allen, Lamar, Herbert, Prescott. I want
top guys.
Yeah, I want those flex. I'd also like to have like Stafford or something, maybe cheaper. If I can get Stafford.
That's probably like the second tier of quarterbacks you want.
I really believe in.
But I'd also be fine.
I'd be fine with like Mac Jones even, because I know that he's going to give us something. He's going to give us. He's doing well in real life, even if he's not doing well for fantasy.
At least be startable.
Yeah, I think we've given the people enough takeaways. So let's plug your stuff because you didn't do it at the beginning. I want the people to know.
All right. So you can find my tweets down here. I always do the wrong hand. It's late at night at RyanPros_FF. You can find my writing at the Dynasty Vipers. I'm going to be doing some DFS showdown stuff. So hopefully we can win some money.
You will?
Yeah.
Oh, I talked about DFS on my show earlier, and I was like, I don't know anything about DFS.
It's you can just talk about the game a little bit, but that's what I'm going to be doing. And then we're hoping to pick back up on the shows for the newsroom with Matt and Spence.
I hope so. You guys have to get back out there.
We do. It's been busy for us.
You do.
Been busy, but
yeah, it's life has really been. Life sometimes interferes with football. Fantasy.
Yep.
I love it.
I can't do it.
I'm not I'm sitting on my couch and honestly it's not super comfortable, to be completely honest.
You hear the only thing that ticks me off is you hear like the creaks when I rock back. I don't know if Mike picks that up, but I think it does. But yeah, I mean, chair's nice.
I honestly should get a more comfortable chair. But anyway, the people know where they can find my stuff, right? They know, but if you really want to know, you can find all of my Twitter at DLF_carp. I'm going to post the link to the Patreon tomorrow or today when you're listening to this, probably the first of a month. I have patreon.com/fantasy advice. I always think that's crazy. But the first of the month is the best day to sign up because you get a good deal. I've also upped the annual discount. If you sign up for an annual membership, I will give you a 15% discount. So 15% off. So that's the equivalent of what? Like a month and a month and more because 1/12 would be a month. So that's like 8.5% or so, eight and a third. So I'm giving you almost a little bit under 2 months free on a year membership if you sign up in advance. So 15% off if you're interested in that. And I put the link there, and I'll make a separate post about it tomorrow. But it's great. I always try to help people, and I have all my tiers and all that. And if you want to just support me, I have a $3 a month tier where you just get my spreadsheets and also a link to my Discord, which only is just really there for me to promote my content, but you never get to miss anything. You get all my content in one place. So still have this channel. Like and subscribe. If you're here and you're watching this, like and subscribe. That's how the YouTube algorithm promotes this video, and that's how you can ensure people see it. Catch me on AskDLF with at Calvin and Hobby. Cal's great. Tuesday nights at 8:30 Eastern. I have so much stuff. I plugged Patreon. I plugged Twitter. I plugged
getting there.
This YouTube channel. I plugged AskDLF. Oh, my articles. Yes, my articles are at DLF at dynastyleaguefootball.com. You can just find me. I do a lot of articles. Just look for me there. We have lots of other great writers, lots of great tools. I suggest subscribing to DLF. I've been a subscriber since I think June 2018, so quite thanks. And we appreciate you.
Yep, we appreciate you, Dave.
Yeah, so DLF sub is a good thing. I think it's a great value. Like I said, I've had it since June of 2018. I've only been writing there since February of this year, so I've been a customer way longer than I've been part of their team. And their team is also super inclusive and super nice, and very much made me feel welcomed. Even even though I'm definitely a workhorse, and definitely can be a little bit out there and crazy and different. They've always made me feel welcomed and kind of at home there. So I really appreciate them for that, the whole team and the board and everything like that. So appreciate them. Appreciate everyone watching. I appreciate you, Ryan, for staying on the show with me for so long.
Anytime, you know my sleep schedule.
I do, but
how my sleep schedule is.
And the people need to hear that, and they will. There will be if you subscribe to my Patreon, there's going to be a Patreon tribute video, and you'll definitely get a mention in that. But I reached 50 patrons, so this is very true. I'm not the only good writer at DLF. But yeah, there'll be a Patreon tribute video. So if you subscribe to my Patreon, you'll see me thanking everyone. But anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed the Sunday slate. I hope everyone enjoyed Mike White. I hope you all won your fantasy matchups. And if you didn't, I will be right here for week 9 to help you change that. Anyway, peace out.
See yous.